Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, or you dislike, go ahead, shoot us a call, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. And this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but baseball season is still going strong. So I'm going to go ahead and create me an account and then use that promo code. Get my $20 off. You might as well do it too. Anyway, look, man, we got some good stuff in this episode. But the first things first here is the Sacramento Kings. They done brought D-Rose home. Or Debo. They done brought Debo home. I got too hyped thinking about the songs. But anyway, DeMar DeRozan and the Sacramento Kings have agreed on a sign and trade deal that landed DeMar DeRozan in Sacramento for 3 years for $74 million. Now, this was a 3-team trade. So the Spurs, they received Harrison Barnes, and the Chicago Bulls received Chris Dart, 2 second-round picks, and cash compensation in exchange for DeMar DeRozan. So it's kind of crazy how all of this stuff lined up. But of course, right off the back, I'm thinking the Kings, they become immediate competitors. We already know they won this trade by landing DeMar DeRozan. They add another threat on the outside, but they already have a lot of talent over there in Sacramento. But adding DeMar DeRozan, that's going to be the catalyst that really take them to the next level of a deep playoff run. When I say deep playoff run, I'm not meaning the first or second round. I mean going back to the conference finals, a place they haven't been since 2002, which is well over 20 years now. So they're pretty desperate for another conference finals run, or at least a finals appearance in the meantime. But we've seen DeMar DeRozan. He's been playing some of the best basketball that we've seen him play in the past couple of years. He's had great health, very consistent in that area, and been a hell of a consistent player as well. But the part that sticks out to me the most with the Kings deal is that DeMar DeRozan is going to fit in perfectly with this scheme here. Because this is the guy you're bringing in. He can play off the ball, and I would love to see Debo play off the ball, coming off screens, and working out in the mid-range game with those guys, De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis, being the distributors they are. I feel like it will really help them out. We already know they got a lot of shooters over there in Sacramento. Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, Malik Monk coming off the bench. De'Aaron Fox has been shooting the ball like crazy as well over there. So you got a lot of guys to spread the floor and help DeMar DeRozan. Now, and the key piece, which is really, really going to help the Kings, is in the clutch moments of the game, you have another player who can create his own shot. He can score at will, and he has no problem scoring in the clutch, as we've seen over the past few years, and he has no problem putting the ball in the hoop any way he needs to, whether it's from mid-range or the three-point game. We know most likely he's going mid-range if he's got to score the ball, but the good thing about the Kings is they have more than one option in a person they can go to in a late game situation. It's not going to all be on De'Aaron Fox to get the last bucket or hit the go-ahead bucket to win the game. Not going to be on Sabonis to create opportunities for somebody else. You have another guy in DeRozan who's immaculate on the offensive end, and it's going to help out a lot. But there's multiple angles to this trade. So, of course, the Kings, they're not the only ones that won something. I think the Spurs, they also got a lot better in this trade. Harrison Barnes is going to the Spurs in this deal here. And they kind of lucked up because Barnes is still a great talent in this league. This is somebody who brings a veteran presence. And the Spurs, who have a lot of young talent over there, they can really, really use someone that's bringing a veteran presence. They already got Chris Paul, but now you add Harrison Barnes there too to help out Victor Wembanyama and Steven Castle. Like, that's going to be good for them. They're not in the business of winning right now, but teaching the young guys the ropes and making sure they get the hang of the league and get a feel for the routines that happen when you're in the league is going to be extremely important. And for the San Antonio Spurs, a team that has a lot of promise in the future because they have young talent, this is huge for them. I think this is definitely a big win in landing Harrison Barnes, especially because he's not on any crazy deal or nothing like that. And he can still very much score. So this definitely puts the Spurs on a trajectory to win more than 22 games like they did last season. And as far as the Bulls, they pretty much got change in return. Let's call it for what it is, bro. They got change in return. However, you got to understand something. Understand the Bulls didn't have much of a choice here. You couldn't really have much leverage when your star wants to go. You can't tell teams we are demanding these things when your star wants to go, especially if you want to do right by the player that helped your team out a lot. So for the Bulls, can't really be mad at them for, taking what they had to get rid of their star and send him off in a good way. But, above all, I think the Kings, they're definitely going to make some noise this upcoming season here, man. It's going to be tricky for them because when you look at everything they've done in the past few seasons, it's nothing crazy. Everything tells you they're just a regular stagnant team. One playoffs appearance in like the last 16, 20 years. That's pretty bad. But we know the playoff appearance that they showed up and they played the Warriors and they went down. It was a little rough. And then last year they had to play in. They had a lot of injuries. So it's been rough for the Kings, but I really think this will be the thing that gets them over the hump. Don't be surprised that the Kings just pop up. You should know they didn't just pop up. They've been good for a minute. They just haven't been able to really prove themselves. And last year could have been that year, but they were injured. They were dealing with a lot of injuries, so it was rough for them. But anyway, look, man, here's Kings owner with DeMar DeRozan after the trade via Kings.
So I know, DeMar, that everybody wants you, every team, every city, all the players, but I got one thing to tell you. And nothing like us.
All right, and I got a quick side note here too, man, because let's shift gears just a little bit over to the FIFA Copa America and the Euros that's going on right now. First of all, anybody who's comparing the two soccer tournaments between Copa America and the Euros, just understand that we are watching great soccer right now, bro. This is great play from both leagues in both tournaments that's going on. So just embrace it. Above all, man, Copa America, I think it's going to be Argentina and Colombia in the final that play each other because Colombia, they've been on a tear. Argentina obviously had a lot of the hype coming into the Copa America tournament. And, we still expect Messi to do Messi type of things. So in that area with Copa, I say Argentina versus Colombia coming up is what we can expect. But the Euros has been the thing that had my focus for a lot of the games lately. And, it's some teams out here, they're kind of fraudulent, bro. Let's call it for what it is. But I'm seeing some fraudulent teams out here. Spain versus France is about to be a hell of a matchup. France, they're the fraudulent team here. They haven't scored a goal in over 4 games. Each game they've won has been from PKs. How can you claim to be one of the best in the tournament and you have not scored goals? You're beating teams by barely anything at all. Everything is coming down to the wire. You got a lot of talent there, but you're just not living up to the expectations. We know what Mbappe can do. We know what all the other guys can do on that team, but are they doing that? Are they living up to the hype? No. And you keep playing game after game like this, where it's coming down to the wire, going into the extra time and going into the PKs, like it gets mentally exhausting. So a team like Spain that has been on a tear lately and they've been kicking butt left and right, been scoring goals left and right. I think they're about to go out here and they're about to give France a belt to ass whooping. I think it's going to happen, man. I mean, looking at Spain, and what they've done, they've scored 2 or more goals ever since the first round of the Euros. And they have one of the longest winning streak in the Euros right now. So you can't help but to notice what they've been doing. They've been playing with tremendous pace all along. The defense have been fairly nice from what I've seen in the game, in the previous games that they've played. So I got to give this matchup between Spain and France to Spain to win it. I don't think if you go player by player, they're the more talented team full of individuals, but above all, they've been playing better soccer. I have to give them the roofs. I have to give them the leeway, especially since France hasn't been living up to the hype. They look pretty fraudulent. They haven't been able to score goals. Defense hasn't been where we expected defense to be from France. So I'm going Spain to win that game there. And then we got another cool matchup happening in the Euros between England and the Netherlands. Man, I'm expecting a close game here, a solid game between these two teams. But above all, I think England is going to win. England is definitely probably going to win this game because England is arguably the most talented team in the Euros. I know I talked a lot about Spain and France and how great they are and what they've been doing, mainly Spain. But individually, I think England has the upper hand against anybody in the Euros right now. Harry Kane, Saka, Bellingham. Did y'all see what happened in the previous game against Switzerland with all the PKs? 5 for 5? Tremendous. My man's literally went out there and kicked the PK and didn't even look at the ball, bro. Like, just visualize that. He kicked a PK and didn't even look at the ball. And anybody watching on YouTube can see it right now. But it's just insane because I've never seen anything happen like that before. But above all, you know, you can't really sleep on the Netherlands. You can't ever sleep on any team coming into the Euros because, I mean, you got to take it game by game. England taking it game by game, and based on what they've shown me in the previous matchups, I think when the going gets tough, when push comes to shove, they can buckle down and really close out a game. We've seen Saka hit a huge goal against Switzerland that really equalized it and helped it. I think it was the one that put them above. But, you know, we've seen these big names actually show up and play in serious moments of the game, and that's what it's all about. So I'm going to give England the advantage here against the Netherlands. So moving on, we'll see England and we'll see Spain. And then we got a whole other side too in the bracket. So you got to keep your eyes out for the other teams that's happening right now too. Well, this will be the final to clarify, but you know, over in Copa, you got to keep an eye out for the teams that's happening over in Copa because that's going to be a dope tournament as well. But again, I think Argentina and Colombia are going to be the teams that face off against each other. And then here over in the Euros, I'm saying I want to see England and France play each other. Or I'm sorry, England and Spain play each other. I don't want to see France because I think France is fraudulent. But Spain and England is the two teams I got advancing. But we'll find out. Spain and France, they play tomorrow, and then Wednesday we'll see England and the Netherlands play it off. But look, we got some news coming up in just a second, and hey, if you heard anything you want to chime in on, go ahead, shoot us a quick take, 219-413-9405, and of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. That can be anything, just a quick comment, even if you know, you have a question, whatever it is, man, go ahead, shoot us a call. But look, we're going to take a quick break and then we're going to run back with some news for the run. We'll be right back. It's halftime. All right, man, let's jump into it. Some news for the run. Starting off with the NBA, free agent Miles Bridges will be returning to the Charlotte Hornets after signing a 3-year, $75 million deal. And then the 76ers, they picked up another key piece as they finalized the deal to bring Caleb Martin over to Philly. And Martin, he's a playoff-tested veteran who's played multiple seasons with the Miami Heat. And now he's going to bring his impactful presence on the defensive end and possibly off the bench for the 76ers. So that's definitely a great pickup for them. And then the Orlando Magic and Franz Wagner. They've agreed to a 5-year, $224 million max rookie contract extension. And this deal is set to be potentially worth about $269 million after all of the contract incentives. Now, you missing the NFL season? Well, so am I. But HBO's Hard Knocks is featuring the New York Giants. That season is now available on HBO Max. This season focuses on the Giants' offseason moves, but you got to keep an eye out for the Chicago Bears version of Hard Knocks. That's going to be coming out, focusing on training camp, and that is set to release on HBO Max on August 6th. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And in the Formula One racing world, Sir Lewis Hamilton, he has won the British Grand Prix. And Lewis Hamilton, he broke the record for the most wins in a single circuit previously held by the great Michael Schumacher. Anytime you take down a Schumacher record, that's a tremendous accomplishment. But Lewis Hamilton, he's been one of the most winningest Formula One racers in the world. He's also has the most Formula One wins. He has the most podiums in Formula One racing as well. So the list goes on and on about the achievements that he's captured in the racing world. We know soon next season he's going to be racing for Ferrari instead of the Mercedes. So we'll see, man. But definitely great things happening there, and he's establishing history in the Formula One racing world. So kudos to him. Anyway, look, man, the Chicago Bears, they are expected to have a pretty good season this season, right? I mean, most people in Chicago are pretty excited about it. I mean, you got the good receiving core, the running backs, the quarterback, Caleb Williams, all of that stuff. But what's actually pretty interesting here is the organization is still waiting on Caleb Williams and the other rookie, Rome Odunze, to sign their rookie deals. Now, this is scaring some people. And people are kind of spiraling out of control because it's like, oh, what's going to happen if they don't sign the rookie deal? Typically, the contracts and all of that stuff is already done going into training camp, but it's right around the corner. And, one can only suspect that this is happening because of the details in the contract. Now, we've seen this happen to last year. Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers, he did the same thing. He waited until like a couple days before training camp, and eventually he did sign it. But the thing that it seems to be where guys are trying to avoid is the possibility of losing contract guarantees. Now, this isn't touched on a lot in the sports world, whatever, but it's pretty interesting to me because depending on the contract, your on-field penalties and suspensions can like wipe away some of the guarantees you have in incentives and cash guarantees as well. So it seems to be the issue that Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze are trying to figure out before they actually sign these deals. And it seems like they're getting a lot smarter, like rookies in general, of trying to make sure things are intact for them. Because obviously, things happen on the field, things happen off the field. And the most important thing for anyone who's just going into the NFL, you want to make sure you secure your bag. And I'm not mad at it. So anybody out there watching or anybody listening and reading all these crazy headlines about, oh, Caleb Williams still hasn't signed his deal, bro, it's okay. This has happened before. The Bears are going to be just fine. Don't worry about it. I promise you they'll be good. As long as they keep building around Caleb Williams, they're going to be fine, man, because we know they got the pieces. They got the hell of a receiving core and hell of an offensive weapon right now. DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, once he signs the contract, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. They got so many pieces on there, and even now they're still trying to add pieces with the Bears. Latest of the rumor was the possibility of landing the left tackle David Bakati, I got to figure his name out. But the left tackle, he's a former All-Pro, played for Green Bay Packers. I mean, he was a solid pickup. I think he is going to be a solid pickup because they haven't signed him yet. But however, if the Bears can get this guy for the right price, this will be beautiful because I mean, we know what he's done. He's been solid every time he's played with the Packers coming into each season. The only thing that does concern me is you don't want to overpay a guy who's had big time injuries like this. The man has went through several knee surgeries throughout his career, and if you overpay him, it could come back to haunt you. He's 32 years old. The NFL lifespan is not that much longer. It's not that long, especially when you're in any other position outside of quarterback. But you got to be careful here. And for the Bears, you don't want to pay this man a crazy amount for him to be injured all year. So the deal that I would go with, or the route I would try to sway him in, is let's put some good contract incentives in there. Put some good guarantees together as long as he can hold up his side of the deal. If he can say, give us 14 games, then cool. That's another incentive of giving him this much money in addition to what his contract said. That unlocks a new tier of money in his contract. If he takes the Bears to the playoffs, give him another incentive. Like you got to really stack him up. And I think it's different ways to get him outside of, just trying to pay him outright of guaranteed money, but that's also the tough part is a lot of guys want that guaranteed money. That's why we see the thing with Justin Fields, or not Justin Fields. That's why we see the thing with Caleb Williams. That's why we see the thing with Rome Odunze right now and trying to secure the money, because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. So I think the Bears could get it done. If they can get that done, bring in another left tackle, it would be huge for the Bears, especially adding some extra protection there for Caleb Williams. But above all, man, the Bears, they got a shot to make some noise, bro. They got a good shot. I think it's going to be tough because NFC North is obviously becoming one of the best conferences in the NFL, or the best divisions in the NFL, with the Lions there, the Packers there. Not much about the Vikings, but those two teams, the Lions and Packers, were playoff teams last year, and they did pretty good in the playoffs, so can't count them out. But Bears, they got a lot of work to do. And I personally won't be swayed until I see what goes on in a training camp. Once I see the hard knocks and see what goes on in training camp, then I'll be like, all right, is this team really locked in, or are they just here for the entertainment? That's my concern right now. Anyway, look, man, that's all I got for y'all today. I'm going to leave y'all with this positive note here. I'm going to just say this, bro. Go at your own pace, run your own race. Don't even worry about what anybody else is doing, bro. Go at your own pace, run your own race. There's always going to be people ahead of you, always going to be people behind you, but you got to just look yourself in the mirror, go at your own pace, run your own race. You take that however you want to receive it. But look, that's all I got for y'all today, man. Look, we're going to be back later on next week. I'm going to try and get another guest back on here. Anyway, look, hang tight. Shoot us a voicemail call if you have anything that you were thinking about that you just got to get off your chest. 219-413-9405. And then go ahead, use that promo code for SeatGeek to get $20 off your first ticket purchase. Promo code The Run. Use that. Until then, man, we'll be back later on next week. Send us to a cousin, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, coworker, friend, family, anyone you know who enjoys sports, especially if I talked about their team and something they might enjoy. All right, I'm out of here. I'll see y'all later on next week, and so on and so this week, actually. I'll see y'all this week, and so on and so on and so on.